Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam 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 Ganapataye Namaha.
So this is, I believe, a beginner's Kundalini yoga class. Hopefully you guys are here for beginner's Kundalini yoga. If not, that's okay. You can take it anyways. So let's just start by taking a nice tall seat, feeling into the sits bones, kind of rocking a little bit side to side, front and back. Just finding that sort of point where the spine wants to balance. It's almost at a place where you're just about maybe a couple of millimeters from like that feeling of wanting to fall backwards. When you find right where that spot is and just come just slightly forward of it, that kind of activates the navel point. If you're sitting, you want to make sure that the knees are lower than the hips. If they aren't lower than the hips, grab a bolster or a blanket or something and sit up a little bit higher so that the knees are down below the hips. Just taking a couple of long, deep breaths, letting the navel point come forward on the inhale, back towards the spine on the exhale. And as the navel is moving forward, that feeling of drawing the diaphragm at the base of the ribs downward and in towards the belly to really open up the bottom part of the lungs. And as the navel point's going back in as you exhale, I think it's all the way back in, just slightly lifting up the diaphragm and lifting it up into the rib cage a little bit to get that full and complete exhale, pushing all the air out. A nice even breath without straining anywhere, even though we're doing that little bit of lifting, a little bit of dragging with the diaphragm. It's just a tiny bit. You don't really want to be straining. And imagining from the base of the spine and the sits bones, the pelvic floor, that there are roots growing down into the earth. And as they grow deeper, just feeling everything from the navel point down, really, really solid and heavy. And the navel point is actually your center of gravity, and it's about 3 finger widths, 2 to 3 finger widths below the physical navel. It's a little bit lower than the navel, and then it's in about 2 finger widths from the surface, or slightly more if you have a more abundant area here. I'm going to have the sense of sitting right at the very center of creation. Maybe you're on top of Annapurna or Mount Shasta. The lower part of the body is solid, really becoming part of the earth. And gently pressing down through the sits bones to just lengthen the spine a little bit. Again, not straining, just a little bit. So it's almost imperceptible. You can see there's just this tiny movement. I'm coming up or dropping back. So I'm coming up and taking the heart center and the shoulders back a little bit so they're directly over top of the hips. You're gently rolling the shoulders up, back, down, and together a little bit to sort of lift the heart center just a little bit. Then you let your chin come in a little bit, just slightly to kind of lengthen the back of the neck. So we're not taking the chin down, we're just kind of bringing it in, back a little bit, just a little bit, kind of like those meerkats when you see when they pop up and they're looking around. That's sort of what you want to have. It's this really long, tall spine. Imagining something gently lifting up at the crown of the head, and kind of creating the maximum distance between the crown of the head and the pelvic floor. Right at the center of the pelvic floor, the perineum, is the root chakra, Muladhara. As you lift the crown up a little bit, you may even feel a little bit of activation in that point. And that's exactly what we're looking for. That says we're stretching the central channel as long as it'll go. The opening up the energetic body. And also you can feel it's opening up the rib cage. So you have the ability to take the deepest breath so far of the day. And just start taking a few deep breaths. Keeping the breath going, you can gently focus the eyes to the brow point, or Adya, which is the third eye chakra, which is just between and slightly above the eyebrows. It's just a very light stretch on the optic nerve. You're not really crossing the eyes and doing this really extreme pointing. You're just sort of gently looking up at this point. Activating the pituitary gland, that stretch of the optic nerve. And just kind of going through the body as you breathe, feeling the sits bones, the navel point, heart center lifted, shoulders over the hips, chin slightly in, crown and root, third eye. And holding all of this together, we're going to begin to rub the palms together briskly at the heart center, building up a little bit of heat and energy. And you're going to bring the hands into a prayer pose, the palms, the fingers all touching like this. And you can take this first knuckle of the thumb and put it against the chest center and slide it down till it's just at the top of that notch at the base of the sternum, here where the xiphoid process is. You want to kind of rest right there at the base. Checking the posture. Continuing to breathe. And we're going to tune in with the Adi mantra, which is Ong, O-N-G, Namo, N-A-M-O, Guru, G-U-R-U, Dev, D-E-V, Namo. Om is the infinite vibration underlying all matter and consciousness. Namo means to greet, to welcome, or invoke. Guru, Gu is darkness, Ru is light, and it means the totality of darkness and light, or wisdom. It can also mean teaching or teacher. And Dev means transparent, so the things, the results of the thing, it's sort of like the wind, where like you see the result, but you don't actually see the wind. That's what it means, transparent. So we're calling upon this infinite vibration underlying all matter and consciousness. And we're calling upon our own inner wisdom, connecting and vibrating both of them. And when we chant, we'll sing it kind of in a slightly higher pitch so that it goes up into the conch, which is the sinuses and the nasal cavities. And It's a little different from singing to chant because you want to have the whole body open. You want to hear it vibrating from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And then the cadence of it sort of sounds like this. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. We'll chant it 3 times. It's kind of on a breath and a half this way. It's a little bit slower. Sometimes it's all done on 1 breath per round. Yeah, and there's a little pitch up at the Dave, and then it kind of comes back down. It's just up a minor third and back for any musicians in the group. All right, so let's take a nice deep inhale. Biggest breath of the day. Exhale. Then inhale to vibrate. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Take a nice deep breath in, suspending the breath. Gently pulling up on Mula Bandha or root lock, and that's pulling in at the sex organ, the rectum and the navel point, and the pelvic floor, kind of lifting everything up and in without building too much pressure in the head. Exhale, relax. Taking a couple of deep breaths, and just noticing the shift in energy and awareness. Letting the face soften, even gently smiling. It's part of the practice of this type of yoga that we gently smile and have the face soft, unless otherwise specified. You can kind of use your smile and the expression as a guide to whether or not you need to modify whatever you're doing. So if you find that it's becoming difficult to smile, it's time to start thinking about modifying whatever you're doing. If you begin to notice that you're clenching your teeth and your face is scrunching up, then it's definitely time to modify. And if you've also stopped breathing, then it's definitely was time to modify a little while ago. So just paying attention to where you are and taking care of yourself. You can always modify everything in this practice, coming all the way down to just sitting and visualizing yourself continuing to practice. Going to reach the arms up, taking them out to 60 degrees. And then you're just going to turn the palms up towards the sky so you can see them. And lift the heart center. Chin is in still. And we're going to do a breath of fire, which is kind of moving the navel point. And it's panting like a dog. So if you've never done it, it's sort of gently panting, like with the mouth open. This is a nice way to start. And slowing it till you have that nice even rhythm. And then just closing the mouth and doing it through the nose. If you're comfortable with breath of fire, have been practicing longer, you're welcome to power it up and do it as fast as you like. There's no reason it's better fast than slow. but you certainly can do it using the navel pointer, focusing at the solar plexus. If you're on the first few days of a moon cycle, you could consider switching to a long, deep breath, just following your own intuition. When the arms are up in this position, this exercise is called ego eradicator. And most people's experience of this posture is that pretty immediately your ego shows up and says something like, stop doing that, I hate this, I think I'm going to die, or my arms are going to fall off any second. I haven't seen that happen yet, but I know it goes through everyone's mind at some point. So if that's happening, just noticing what's going on, the drama in the mind, without getting too caught up in it, just noticing that this is what the mind is saying, and just focusing back to the breath and the third eye. Smiling if possible. Modifying if necessary. And inhale deeply, bringing the palms together and stretching the arms up. Slowly exhaling, bringing the palms back to the heart center. Taking a couple of deep breaths. Noticing the shift in energy and awareness. Just letting everything circulate. We stirred up a lot of energy with ego eradicator. And relaxing the hands down. Just start taking the navel point around the pelvic bowl for some Sufi grinds. So we're focusing in at that same spot, the navel point, moving it around the pelvic bowl. There's a tendency to want to do this big swinging, which is like a pelvic rotation. But really a Sufi grind, the shoulders are staying more or less in the same place. And you're moving the navel point, so it's really working the hips, low back. You want to keep trying to keep the spine stretched up higher and higher. Like when you have like a hose, you stretch it out and you can kind of twist it, make it move like a snake. This is sort of what you want to do with the spine. Staying connected to the third eye, and the breath and the natural rhythm, taking full, deep yogic breaths. If you wish, you can mentally vibrate Sat as you inhale and Nam as you exhale. Sat is truth. Nam is name or identity. So we're vibrating our higher self, our true self, mentally throughout the tissue as we're doing this thing. You can even visualize yourself as a beautiful person, the best version of yourself, your higher self, the self you'd like to grow into. Almost like you're setting an intention and vibrating it out into the universe, asking the body, mind, and spirit to come into alignment. Reverse the direction. Checking all those points, the sits bones, the heart center, the chin. Always keeping the chin slightly in unless otherwise specified. It's called a light Jalandhara bandha or neck lock. You could also be holding a light Mula bandha or root lock, which is that whole lift from the pelvic floor and the navel point. And relaxing to the center, taking a couple of deep breaths. Each step along the way, noticing how the shift in attention and awareness, just noticing what's going on with the body and the mind. Let's take both legs out a little bit. Inhale, sweeping the arms straight up to the center. Turning towards the left leg. You're going to exhale, leading with the heart center and the chin. If your hands come all the way down, it's fine. And then inhaling back up to the center, turning towards the right leg, pressing down through the left leg. Exhaling, folding. Just want to keep the spine long and tall so we're not collapsing down. Just alternating with the breath. Inhaling to the center, exhaling, folding. Inhaling to the center, exhaling over the other leg. Just building a nice, even rhythm. Could be inhaling Sat up to the center, exhaling Nam as you fold. Just mentally vibrating at the third eye. And having some sort of, I don't know, it doesn't have to be a dance, but just some level of creativity or artistry or fluidity to your movement. So it's not just some kind of rough, robotic sort of thing. You can maintain the focus on all the other parts. You can even bring your awareness to the tips of the fingers and how they feel moving through the auric field and through the pranic field of the life force energy and air. And inhale up to the center. And exhale, fold forward. You can take a hold of the big toes if it's comfortable. Just keeping the spine long, trying to keep that maximum distance between the crown of the head and the tip of the tailbone. So we're not collapsing down and arching the upper back. You want to be pressing the heart center through a little bit. Chin still tucked in. And gently coming back up, shaking the legs out a little bit. And coming back to an easy pose. And we're going to do Kriya for the ninth body, which is the subtle body, which is the energetic part of the body, beyond the physical. And even though it's a beginner's class, there's nothing beginner in Kundalini, so it's all pretty advanced at some level. And the first exercise will be doing breath of fire through one nostril, but we'll also be listening to the mantra sa re sa sa, sa re sa sa, sa re sa sa, sa rang, hada de, hada 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 de, hada 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 de, hada 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 rang. And so this is like a a mantra for mastery, but also it's like the very beginning, sort of the Indian music scale, sa re. So we have do re mi fa sol la ti do. They have sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, and so sa, the syllable, also means infinity, and re sometimes can mean light or effulgence. So sa re sa sa, we're just kind of in this big open space, and in had is this aspect of the divine that is manifesting in reality. So it's this sort of solid, and then adding or rang, as you say it, rang, or sa re sa sa. Yeah. So you're adding this syllable at the end. We aren't going to be chanting it right now, but we're just going to be listening to it. And is vibrating in every part or everywhere. So it's what it's saying is that this infinity and this light is sort of vibrating in every part of you and every part of the universe, everywhere. And it's also manifest in physical reality in every way. Hadade, hadadan. Okay, just thought I'd let you know what that was about, because we're going to be listening to it while we're doing this thing. So to begin, we're supposed to block the right nostril and breathe breath of fire through the left nostril. So if you're not touching your face right now, you could use a tissue or something to do that. Another alternative, if your hands are relatively clean, is to take your left hand up and just use the back side of the fingernail to close the right nostril. And that's mostly because we aren't getting stuff too much on the back side of our hands as much as the front side. So it's probably a little bit safer if you're worried about germs or whatever at this time. Okay, so we're just gonna take a nice tall seat again. And close off the nostril so that only the left nostril is open, and then it'll be a breath of fire. It'll look like this. Okay, so I'll put the music on so you guys can hear this thing. It's a lot of wind up for this exercise because we don't really, we're only doing it for like a minute. So it's kind of, okay.
Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram.
So then just beginning the breath.
Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa sa.
And then switch hands and nostrils and continue breathing through the other nostril, the right nostril.
Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram.
keep the breath of fire going and just release both hands down. So it's through both nostrils, just a regular breath of fire.
Sare sa sa sare sa sa sare sa sa saram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sare sa sa sare sa sa sare sa sa saram. Hare re hare 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 re hare hare re hare 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 ram. Sare sa sa sare sa sa sare sa sa saram. Hare re hare 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 re hare.
And inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Exhale and relax. Again, just checking in. You can stretch the legs out. Maybe just take the left leg out. Just do a couple of leg stretches. While you're kind of noticing the shift in energy, you can inhale up, exhale down, just gently opening up the one leg. This Kriya has a lot of seated posture, so in between the exercises as we're kind of relaxing a little more than we normally would because it's a beginner's class, just thought it'd be nice to stretch the legs out so you don't get tired of sitting in the easy pose the whole time. You know, switch sides and legs and stretch out the right leg a little bit too. And then coming on back to an easy pose. Okay, so this next exercise in the Kriya is actually part of it, is a meditation for conquering death. And it's done with this kind of traditional mudra where you're putting a finger on the eyes, the middle fingers are on the nose, and the other two fingers are holding the mouth shut, and then you put the thumbs, in this case they say in the ears. So just if you don't want to be doing all this fingers on the face stuff right now, that makes sense to me. Also with this, you're basically closing everything down. It's called Shanmukhi, which means you're just closing off all the sense gates in the head. So it's very quiet inside with the ears closed and the nostrils closed. So I prefer to kind of do it with the thumbs on the tragus, which is this little flap of the ear in the front, and you kind of press it closed. It's a lot better than sticking your fingers actually in your ears. And then I would just take the middle fingers and put them on the nostrils and closing the nostrils and opening them by lifting the fingers off. So it's like this, to inhale, exhale, then you'll close it. And the eyes are closed. And so the meditation is basically you're taking a nice deep inhale and exhale with the fingers closing the ears, which we don't want to do yet because you won't be able to hear. And then you'll exhale completely, hold the breath out and close the nostrils and close the ears. And just hold it out, meditating on the silence inside of the body and inside of the head, as long as it's comfortable. And then you'll go ahead and open the middle fingers, take an inhale, and then exhale again, hold the breath out and close it up again. I'm just doing it for a few minutes. You can do this for up to 31 minutes, but if you do 31 minutes, you'll be very spaced out at the end, which is great if you don't have anything to do and you aren't planning on getting in a car or anything anytime in the near future. But for today, we're just going to do a few minutes of it, especially it's a beginner's class. So we're just going to stick towards the lower end. And the recommendation for this meditation in the Kriya is between 5 and 31 minutes. We're probably going to do about 5 minutes of it, but if you get to a place where it's just getting to be a little bit too much, you can always just take a break and come back to it. But really, if you're paying attention to when you need to breathe, you shouldn't have any problem continuing to do it. Just breathe sooner if that's the issue. Okay, so bringing the thumbs up, pressing the ears closed and closing the nostrils, and then opening the nostrils to inhale and exhale. Holding the breath out.
Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa 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 re sa 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 ram. Har re har 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 re har 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 re har 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 ram. Sa re sa 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 re sa sa re sa sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare 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 ram. Sa re sa re sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare hare ram. Sa re sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare ram. Sa re sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare ram. Sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare ram. Sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare ram. Sa re sa ram. Hare re hare 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 re hare ram.
And inhale deeply. Stretch the arms up straight, fingers out wide like steel. Cannon breath out. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Shake the whole body. Shake the hands. Exhale, relax down. Again, just meditating on the natural rhythm and flow of the breath. Noticing what's shifting, maybe the boundaries of the body are less defined. And we're feeling the physical body as fields of sensation rather than being strictly defined. Maybe notice that your feelings and sensations go out beyond the body. Again, maybe shaking the legs out a little bit. If you got a little bit stiff sitting there, you could even just bring them both out in front. And again, just doing the same, inhaling up, exhaling down. Just going to gently open and back up. It's not really part of the Kriya, it's just part of the relaxing in between, so you don't have to do it. You can just massage the legs. And just as you're ready, coming back to an easy pose. And listening to your body and moving how it makes sense in this moment. I think it was Yogananda said, never let the Kriya get in the way of the meditation. So what that means is, if you're already at some place meaningful in this inward process, that's what we're really working on. If the external thing that you're doing is actually distracting you from doing this internal thing, just let go of it. I don't know if that's great advice for beginners or not, but it's true. Okay, so back in easy pose. I'm just going to take a hold of the shins or the ankles. And again, stretch the spine as long and tall as it'll go. And as you inhale, you're going to arch the spine forward, bringing the heart center up. And then as you exhale, it's coming back. And we're rocking the pelvis. So we're rocking forward on the inhale, the top of the pelvis forward on the inhale and back on the exhale. But we're not collapsing down. We're not moving the shoulders up and down towards the ears. So the shoulders are staying in roughly the same place in relationship to the hips. We're just arching the spine. You'll see that the head moves a little bit, but basically it's maintaining this same kind of 90-degree angle between the chest and the chin. So we're not swinging the head. And the spine is staying long and tall the whole time, so it's not scrunching down and stretching up as we're going back and forth. Just want to keep nice. We just want to lubricate the spine, opening up all those joints. At the same time, we're thinking about stretching that central channel, which is the energetic channel that the chakras are aligned on, Sushmana, in the center of the body, running from basically the crown of the head to right in front of the tip of the tailbone, along the front side of the spine. It's roughly the size of your pinky. It's clear, kind of silk-like energetically. And we want to always be trying to maintain that thing at its maximum length. Inhaling Sat as you come forward, Nam as the heart center goes back. Soft face, focus the eyes to the brow point. We're sort of distributing all the psychic heat we built up in that last exercise with the eyes closed and the ears closed. It's kind of pratyahara, or sense withdrawal exercise. Builds up a lot of psychic heat, a lot of energy. And we're kind of distributing it all throughout the whole energetic body and the auric field surrounding the body. And inhale to the center. Stretching the spine long, lifting up on root lock. Exhale, relax. Again, just meditating on the natural rhythm and flow of the breath. And really it's the breath, but we're also feeling it as the life force energy or the pranic energy in the breath, where the breath is just coming into the lungs. Even when we're breathing, we're normally feeling like down into the belly when we're taking these deep breaths. It's really the life force energy that's coming down into the belly, into the rest of the body, whereas the actual breath itself is just coming into the lungs. If you stay focused internally, you can feel the whole field, even the auric field of the body, kind of expanding as you're inhaling and contracting slightly as you exhale. Even though the body is at rest, still the energetic body and the pranic bodies are dynamically moving this energy in and out, purifying the physical body. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, like a kind of butterfly pose. And if it's comfortable, you can take your thumbs kind of pressing into the big toes, kind of squeezing in between the index finger and thumb. This activates a little pituitary gland point. You want to keep the spine nice and long and tall again. Chin slightly tucked in for that neck lock or Jalandhara Bandha. And then just taking the heart center forward, just to a comfortable place to stretch. And just long, deep breathing. The eyes are focused to the third eye. But the awareness is right in the center of the head. So it's back a little bit from the third eye. Keeping the spine long, shoulders down away from the ears, heart center lifted. Feeling that stretch along the inner thigh and the life nerve. Feeling that stimulation like a little light or a fire right in the center of the head, right where the pituitary gland is. And inhale, coming back up straight. Hold for a moment. Exhale, relax. Shaking the legs out a little bit. And keeping the legs out in front. Just going to lean back and take the arms so that they're straight out, parallel to the floor, focusing down at the navel point again. And coming into a nice even breath of fire. And inhale deeply. Hold the position. Exhale, straightening up. Coming back to a rock pose, sitting on the heels if it's comfortable for you, or you could be sitting in easy pose. So if you're in rock pose, knees are on the ground, you're sitting on the heels. Interlace the fingers. If you have hair, you'll do it underneath the hair. So it's at the base of the skull. Your pinkies are at the base of the skull. So you're not grabbing the head, you're behind the neck. Take the elbows out wide. Inhale left, exhale right for spinal twist, torso twist. Just want to have a nice steady rhythm. You can be inhaling Sat to the left, exhaling Nam to the right. You want to be focusing on keeping the spine long and tall. Don't worry about how far you're twisting. You want to keep the elbows out as wide as they can be, opening up the heart center. Trying to stretch the spine taller each rotation rather than trying to make yourself twist farther. And inhale deeply to the center, holding the breath for a couple of seconds. Reaching the arms up into a prayer pose above the head, turning the palms out towards those side walls. Exhale, sweeping out the whole auric field. Bring the fingers all the way down to the earth, just kind of grounding them into roots growing out of the fingertips. Relaxing the breath for a moment. And then bringing the hands back to the thighs. We're just going to do some quick shoulder shrugs with a powerful breath. So inhaling the shoulders up, exhaling, letting them fall. So it looks like this. Again, you want to make sure you're keeping the heart center lifted and the chin slightly tucked in. So there's a tendency for the chin to wander skyward. Just bring it back down. Eyes are still focused at the brow point. The neck is long and tall. So we're bringing the shoulders up to the ears, not the ears down to the shoulders. Energetically, you want to feel like you're pumping energy up from the heart center and the navel center into the upper parts, into the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown center. We're opening up that thyroid, parathyroid, Vishuddhi chakra. And inhale the shoulders up. Exhale, roll the shoulders back and down a couple times. Relaxing the breath and just rolling the shoulders a couple of times backwards and forwards. Coming back to the center, dropping the chin down, taking the right ear around, just nice, gentle neck rolls. Not straining and kind of keeping your spine long and tall, keeping everything supported. So we're not straining, we're just kind of doing them a little bit smaller than you think you can do them. Back to the center, and then switching directions, going around the other way. And coming back to the center again, just beginning some long, slow, deep breathing. You're going to continue this long, deep breathing, and as you inhale, you use the right thumb to block the right nostril. So you're inhaling through the left nostril. And you use the index finger or pinky to close the left nostril and exhale through the right. So inhaling left, exhaling right. And inhale deeply. Hold the breath briefly. And then exhale. Shaking the legs out if you need to, or just meditating for a moment. Inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. Okay, for the last exercise in this Kriya, it's a Hamsa meditation. Hamsa, among other things, means swan. So you take your hands, both of them, and you bring the fingers into the pads. You kind of curve the thumbs and bring the tips together. So they look like, from the back where you're looking at them, they look sort of like the wings of a swan and the swan's necks coming together. Okay, this is the idea anyways. And it's kind of comfortably held in front of the eyes. So you're looking directly at those tips of the thumbs. You want to have a little bit of pressure, so it's a little bit of whiteness, but not crushing them so they're, getting beat up. And you're just going to focus your eyes and your whole awareness right on that spot in the thumbs, taking in this whole picture of the hands, like the wings on the swan. And just holding that image, staying focused there, trying to burn this image into the mind. And when you think you've totally got it, then you'll close your eyes, continuing to see it through the eyelids. And if it's not quite there, then you'll open them back up and come back to the physical. And then again, when you feel ready and you've really got the image burned in there, just closing the eyes. Holding that image as long as possible. Inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. Soft face, long, tall spine. Consciously relaxing any muscles you're not using to actively support yourself or this mudra. Inhale deeply, holding the breath. Exhale, relax the arms down, relax the breath. Just meditating for a moment. And coming lying down, deeply relaxing, covering up with a blanket, using some bolsters or whatever it takes to be very, very comfortable, where you can feel all the joints are open and you're releasing all of the weight of the body to the earth. There's no obstruction in the flow, and it's very comfortable also. I'm just going to shut my video down so that it's not taking up all the bandwidth while you guys are lying down. Just having a sense of completely surrendering the weight of the body to the earth. Just letting the boundary of the body fade away.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way
Just gently beginning to wiggle the fingers and toes. Gently rotating the wrists and ankles. And then reversing the direction. Drawing the knees into the chest. Rocking a little bit side to side, massaging the low back, sacrum, and tailbone. And holding on to the right knee, straightening out the left leg, and taking the right knee across the body for a supine twist or a cat stretch. Keeping the shoulders on the ground. Taking a couple of deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's really clearing out any stagnant energy. And coming back to the center, bringing both knees in and switching legs and switching sides. Cat stretch, taking the left knee across the body. Again, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Consciously releasing anything that no longer serves you mentally, physically, emotionally, or energetically. So letting it all go back to the earth. It's just purified energy. Clearing the body. Letting the body shine brighter with each exhale. Back to the center. Bring both the knees in and then rubbing the soles of the feet and the palms of the hands together. Sealing in the energy of this practice, grounding into the body. Shaking the whole spine a little bit, wriggling it like a snake, and just getting any stagnancy out for the body, shaking it all out. And then bringing the knees in, and then rocking top to tail, the whole length of the spine back and forth a few times. Gently adjusting the vertebrae. And rocking all the way back up to an easy pose. Bringing the hands together at the heart center, just like we began the class. Inhaling and exhaling at the very center of the universe. If you wish, you can join me in dedicating the merit of this practice to the safety, happiness, and enlightenment of all beings. By just softening the heart and sending out a wave in every direction of clear light, purifying your auric field, letting it reflect back from infinity so that the light pours upon you like a blessing. We'll close with a long Sat Nam. Inhale deeply. Exhale. And inhale to vibrate. Sat. Nam. May this practice continue to be a blessing to ourselves and all those around us. Peace to all beings, light to all beings, and love to all. Sat Nam. Thanks for coming this morning. I hope you guys had fun. If you want to do a little more with that mantra, I think we're probably going to use it tonight in class, in my 5:30 class. We're using that Sa Re Sa Sa for a longer meditation. Have a great day. Take your time getting grounded if you're not quite there.